What up, YouTube? It's your boy Penny LS1 checking in. I think this is my first video, my first full-length video since New Year's Eve when I did that nighttime drive. So I'm gonna show y'all what I've been working on. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have already seen some shorts and reels, but I got a lot going on. I have been driving the car and I've been enjoying it. I've been loving it, but I ran into a few issues, and then also there's a couple of items that I just been wanting to tighten up. Been kind of putting on the back burner, but since I'm driving it more now, I need to go ahead and get all this stuff buttoned up so that it's safely drivable and everything functions the way it should. So I got some stuff on the table, so I keep looking over there. But check this out, man. I ran into a guy. I met a guy. I've seen this car a couple times. So anyway, there's a guy that lives on my block that has I believe it's an 85 SS. So normally when I'm leaving the neighborhood, he'll have his garage up much like I do, and I'll see the car. I just never stopped by because, you know, I didn't want to bother him. But one day, that video that I was just talking about, when I went on that night drive, when I went out that night, I drove around the cul-de-sac before I left the neighborhood, and he flagged me down because he saw the car. So he introduced himself. So anyway, he came by the next day, which was New Year's Day, and we must have talked for about an hour, maybe a little bit longer than that. So he came down here, checked out Miniskirt. So Colin, if you see this video, I'm gonna text you, man, because I've been wanting to come down there. I know it's been chilly, so I haven't seen the garage up lately. So I'm gonna text you, man. Let me know when it's a good time. I want to come down there and check out your car. So he got an 85, I believe it's an 85 SS Monte Carlo, and he told me he's putting a 454 in there. So I definitely want to go check that out. So anyway, so I've been driving the car, and if y'all been watching my reels, like I said, I just recently put in the heater control valve. I'll put the part number up on the screen. I'll put a link for it down in the description. A couple of guys have already asked me what vehicle does it go on. Honestly, I don't know, because I think I Googled Corvette valve and it popped up. But when I went on Rock Auto under Corvette, this is not the same valve that was listed. So I'll show it to you, but I'll put the part number, but it's a two-way valve. So let me go under the engine bay and I'll explain why I chose that valve, because I was getting mixed reviews, mixed information from different people. Some people were using this valve, some people are using the stock valve from the Monte Carlo with the small block 305. So let me explain why I chose this one and kind of show you how it's supposed to function. Okay, so here's the valve right here. It's a two-way. It is plastic. I know a couple of guys already told me don't use the plastic, get a metal one. And then you can see underneath here, that's the vacuum. And it's got the vacuum hoses on. Is right, if I can get down there, hold up, you can see the vacuum hose right here. So I'll explain that in a second. But so this the valve I got. Like I said, it's a two-way valve. The reason I went with this valve is because before I decided to get it, I posted a question on IG. So initially, when I got my car back from the shop, like I said, I didn't do my swap. A couple of guys keep asking me that. I did not do the swap. Everything you guys have seen me do in the last 3 or 4 years, I've just been basically cleaning up this engine bay, as you can see. So the engine was already in the vehicle. I paid somebody to do that. I've just been cleaning up the wiring. Obviously, I painted everything and just doing the final touches. So when I got my car back, it was running and driving. There was some stuff that still needed to be done, like the power steering wasn't, because I told them not to do the power steering because I wanted to do that myself. But anyway, point is, I did not do the complete swap. I just want to make that clear. I probably can do it now because of all the stuff that I've done in the last 3 or 4 years and the knowledge that I've gained. I just want to let y'all know that I didn't do this one. So I'm just doing everything else after the swap's been completed, and I'm just touching up some stuff and getting everything functional. That being said, the heater, air conditioning, that's what's on my agenda now. As well as I got some stuff I'm getting ready to do in the interior. Most of that's actually the interior stuff I'm actually doing today. I'm just going over this right here because I had to order some new parts, and they haven't come in yet. So with these heater hoses and this new valve, I did go ahead and replace the hoses, because when I got like I said, when I got the car back from the shop, they just had the hoses running off the heater core straight down to the water pump. There was no valve in between. And I believe those were the original hoses, so they were old and they weren't brittle, but you could tell they had a little wear on them. So I just went ahead and bought new hoses. I did go with the correct clamps, correct me if I'm wrong, with these spring-loaded clamps, because actually this one was This one was like a perfect fit, but it still has some wiggle room, like it was still moving. But since I've been running the vehicle, obviously you know that the heat expands it, and then it tightens up, so it's like a constant pressure or constant tension, or however they word it. So I bought those clamps, and I'm going to replace the ones on the radiator hoses as well, but I just got the small ones for the heater hoses. So the heater hoses, of course, they're 3/4 inch and 5/8, but these are the ones that I chose to go with. You can use any brand. I just picked these up because I was getting stuff from Summit, and these were in stock, and price wasn't too bad. This vacuum canister, this piece right here, I had to get that on eBay. I didn't find any store that had that in stock, like Doorman or Duralast. Nobody had it, so I just went on eBay and found it. I believe that little sucker was like 29 bucks. But I think that's a crucial piece, because as you can see, this vacuum line, this is the main vacuum line that's coming. I've got it coming off my intake manifold on the driver's side port right here. I wanted to use the port on the back, the small port on the back, because I capped off the brake booster port on the back, but there's a little small one. It's just too much stuff going on in that corner right there for me to get a line in there and have access to it if I needed to take it off. And that thing is plastic, so obviously you don't want to be wiggling in there without being able to see what you're doing. You risk breaking that port, and if you break that port, then you damage the intake. But so that's the main vacuum line, and then the lines that are coming out of the car or from inside the car, you see that there's a pink one right here. This one was super brittle. I broke it twice because it was real long, but I broke it twice just trying to bend it into this under here to get it into the ball. But it's going in right there. It's got a little black little silicone boot on it to slide over the ball. And then the other one that's coming from inside the car is this tan one, or I believe that's gray. This gray one right here. So I just put a vacuum hose on it because it didn't have an end on it, and it's actually, this is as long as it is, it broke right there. So this black hose is the one that's running to the heater valve right here. I'm trying to get y'all a good view. That's the heater valve. That's where that black, that's why that gray vacuum line that runs inside the car to the heater controls. So that's how I have that hooked up. So a brief explanation of why I chose this valve. On the stock engine, 305, the water pump, I'm not too familiar with the small block 305, 350s. That was the main reason I went LS, but to that same extent, to my knowledge, this car came originally with a single valve heater shutoff or heater control valve, meaning when you close the valve, when you turn the AC on, it just stops flow, period, right? So the water's still coming out of the water pump, but then the valve just shuts it off. That's how I understand it to work. Well, with the LS water pumps, I've seen you guys delete this heater box or this HVAC box. Just delete it, right? So you're not running heat or anything. So when you do that, you got to somehow stop the water from coming out of the water pump. And what everyone that I've seen have done, there's a hose you can buy that's a 3/4 inch on one end and 5/8 on the other end, because it's designed to be a loop for that water pump. So why are you guys running that, right? So that you can keep the coolant circulating through the pump. Well, that's the same principle here, because when this valve is closed, the water comes in and it loops back here and it goes back to the pump. When it's open, it goes up, over, up, through the heater core, does what it does, and it exits out over here and back down and back through the water pump. That's why I went with the 2 valve, because if I put a single valve on here, it's basically going to shut the flow of coolant off. So I don't know, it works. So you do what you do. If you got a better explanation, let me know. But I found this to work, and like I said, I've seen a couple of other guys use it. But I also have heard guys say they're using a single valve without any overheating problems. So to each his own. So that's where we at on that. And as far as the air conditioning, the wiring, I run into an issue yesterday, so I'm diagnosing that. But I've got the green wire and the black wire. I've got that figured out. So this is the pigtail that goes to my compressor. Actually, I'm running the R4 compressor, so this just plugs into here. Now I have it unplugged because there's no Freon in the system, so I don't really want the clutch to be turning on as I'm demonstrating stuff. But I will plug it in and show you that it does trigger the clutch to come on when I put it on AC. So that's this green wire. In my car, it turned out to be this light green one, and this is a different color wire that I used to extend it. but the wire that's coming off this harness is this light green one right here, and then there's a dark green one right here. I thought it was the dark green. So what you'll need to do, you need to get you a multimeter and test it. They're both supposed to have 12 volts, and that's why I said I ran into an issue. This one does have 12 volts. When you turn the ignition on and you put it on AC, I get 12 volts coming out of this wire. So I'm gonna use this one to trigger my clutch on my compressor. The other one, to my knowledge, is supposed to also have 12 volts, which to me doesn't make any sense for both of them to have 12 volts, but it kind of does, because this wire is your idle RPM. So from what I know, or what I've been reading, when you turn the air on, this wire sends a trigger to the computer. The computer says, hey, the AC is on. I need to bump the RPMs up on the engine to maintain, you know, decent RPMs. So I'm assuming this is also supposed to have 12 volts, because on my computer, the wire that's labeled for the AC recognition says 12 volt ignition, or 12 volt with AC on. So when I metered this wire, it wasn't even getting 1 volt. So I'm gonna double check. It could possibly be this, because I believe it goes, no, it doesn't run to this relay right here. So it just runs off this plug, and then it runs inside the car. So I may have a break in that wire somewhere. I'll check it inside with my meter. But that's how it's supposed to run. You got your black and your green to the compressor, and the other green is going to be for your AC trigger wire, so that it bumps up the RPMs on the engine. And then I believe also it'll kick on the second fan, or the fans in general. So if the fans aren't on at all, it'll kick them both on. If just one fan is running, it'll kick the second fan on. So that's the green wires. The red wire, it's for your high speed, your fan high speed. And like I say, I want to give credit where credit's due. I watched 87 SS-Gbody troubleshoot his HVAC system, and I've been watching Willie rebuilds with all his swaps. So I picked up pointers from both of them. 87 SS-Gbody was the first one that I saw that was talking about the green wires, and he actually used a multimeter and showed how that worked. And Willie rebuilds, he mentioned it as well. But I picked up the red wire from Willie Rebuilds, because he mentioned that if you turn your fan on high speed, it cuts off, and that's what mine was doing. That's because this red wire needs to get 12 volt ignition power. So rather than having it constant, it's 12 volt ignition. So when you kick it on high speed, that's when this wire gets power from this relay, and then it sends it into the to the fan when you put it on high speed, and then it'll kick it up to your high speed blow. So shout out to both you guys. Appreciate all the gems y'all been dropping. Like I say, I don't know everything. Y'all know I don't. Y'all see me do a lot of stuff. I need to do a better job of giving flowers, because I do watch a lot of people's builds, and I pick up bits and pieces from everybody. Obviously, like I said, I do my research before I do anything. Whenever I'm asking y'all a question, it's because I couldn't find it doing my research. So if I post a video on Instagram asking a question, it's because I couldn't find it on YouTube from somebody that's already done it. Simple as that. So a lot of times I won't even ask. I'll just keep looking, and I'll troubleshoot it myself. But if I get stagnant, or if I get whammied out, I reach out. So that's where we at on the HVAC system. But here's the problem. So let me walk around the other side and I'll show y'all. Yep, it's still down there. I was double checking. So the other day when I came back from driving, I saw this. Actually, I saw it as I was putting that valve on. You see that? That's coolant. So I have a leak. I didn't know where it was coming from. So initially I thought it was leaking. I thought I blew a head gasket. Why did I think that? Because when I put that valve on, when I took the heater hoses off, I think I lost probably about a gallon of coolant. And when I put everything back together, I forgot to fill the top radiator hose with coolant. So the engine was running hot. It got up to like 225 degrees. So I was freaking out. So I shut it off. I was double checking. I poured coolant in the radiator, but I didn't fill the engine. So by the time I realized it, it had ran through a couple of cycles. So once I topped it off, once that coolant started flowing, I don't know if it was just so hot. I don't know what it was, but that's when I started seeing that leak. That's when I first saw it that day. But then I thought, a couple days ago, I saw it after I went out driving. I saw a puddle right there in that same spot I just showed y'all, and I didn't know where it was coming from. So when I saw it leaking the other day while messing with this valve, I heard it when I turned the engine off. I kept hearing some So that's what made me look. I didn't see it on the floor yet. I was in the engine bay hearing that steam. And I was like, I thought it was leaking out of the head. Boy, I was about to cry. I thought I had blew a head gasket because I ran the engine hot. But then I got my flashlight and I got to looking because I couldn't see where it was coming from. I can just hear it. So once it cooled down, because it was splashing real bad when it was hot. But once it cooled down, I saw it trickling. And I put my hand under there, and it's dripping from the drain hole in the heater box. For the, obviously that's where your air conditioner is supposed to drain. But so there's a hole in the heater core because, like I said, the coolant is leaking through the box, but it's coming out of the heater core first. So yeah, so that's where we at. So I ordered a new heater core, and while I'm in there, I'm gonna do the evaporator core as well. Why not, right? There's no point in doing one and not doing the other because you got to take that top off and put new seals and all that. So somebody told me, he was like, yeah, you know, you're gonna break the dash taking that out. I don't know if it was a troll or what, but I was like, wait a minute, the dash? I don't know if he meant the heater box, because you don't have to take the dash out to take this. Well, I'm not taking the heater box out, but you don't have to take the dash out to take this apart just to replace that core. It comes off from the front up here, I think. No, but I think he was trolling. So that's that. So that's the issue we have with that. So I got parts on order for that. So as soon as that come in, I'll start on that. But today we are replacing turn signal switch. This is the windshield wiper switch is what it's listed as. I know this goes in there. This is the turn signal lever, but this also is the windshield wiper control knob. So when you turn this, that little silver piece turns. There's actually a switch in here. So when that turns, it turns this interior, and it's got all these connections for your wipers. The reason I'm replacing this, I've been had this piece right here. I was just gonna replace this. The one that's in the car actually broke off right there with where that notch is, and the metal piece is stuck inside of there, so I couldn't get it out. I tried to use my extractor bit and and I drilled this whole piece out, the one that's on the car, so it's damaged, it's ruined. So that's what we're doing today. We're gonna replace this switch. We're gonna put this in there, get the turn signal switch squared away, so hopefully that'll fix my turn signal intermittent hyper flashing situation. I know y'all keep telling me I need to change the flashers, so some of y'all just haven't seen that video. I changed both flashers, LED flasher for hazard and turn signals. They've already been changed, so just to clear that up. And then recently I just discovered my horn sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. So I purchased this. This is the turn signal cam. Basically it cancels out the turn signal, this little notch right here. When you put your turn signal on, and then once you turn the steering wheel back straight, this will go back up and put it back in the neutral position. But this is also the contact, the ground contact for the for your horn. So we'll put that on. And while I'm in there, I've had this for about 3 years now. I wanted a black ignition switch, so we'll go ahead and put that on as well while I'm in there. Hopefully I can get all this done today and don't run into any issues. So that's what's on the agenda for today. And I did pick up a steering wheel puller kit, so that's where we're at now. So let's just go ahead and pull the steering wheel off, and yeah, we'll get started. All right, I had to cut y'all on real quick, so I've already started taking the steering wheel apart. But I took this piece off, and then I took the nut and the little spring off or whatever. But when I was doing that, the horn kept honking, and I know I told y'all this little piece right here, after you take this off, then you get the nut off, right? Typical steering wheel removal. But somebody did mention that they said what this part is called, but I didn't know at the time. But this is metal plate that's actually behind this piece right here. So when you push this, it makes contact with that, and behind that is the little button for the horn. So like I said, as I was taking these screws out, I kept pushing this. Look, watch this. It was doing it for a second ago. Hold up, because what it's doing, see that little button right there? That's the horn button right there. When it contacts this plate, that's what makes the horn honk. So somebody said to take this and wire wheel it, but I didn't know what they were talking about, obviously, until I took the horn and all this stuff, or the horn button and the center cap, whatever that thing is called. But anyway, let me see if I can get it to do it, because it was just doing it. Yeah, because this is spring loaded. You see that? So it's supposed to touch. Now I won't do it because y'all watching. See how it's spring loaded? That's what gives the contact. So I don't know if, let me see, because it did it just a few seconds ago. I know it's not that badly corroded right there. It's not actually. You'll see this right here. When you push that, it does nothing. It needs metal because that's the ground. So let me see. Let me see if I can get it to do it for y'all, because these 3 holes is what lines up for those screws. Maybe that's why. Okay, so it's supposed to be like that, and it should. There you go. See? So it was this. This is what's not giving good contact. See? So because when you push in the center, it's supposed to put even pressure and make this go in. See, it's not doing it now. There you go. That's what it is. It's this piece. It wasn't giving even pressure, because see, it's not touching. So I'll keep troubleshooting. I still may change that while I'm in here, this piece right here, but we'll see what it looks like when I pull this off. But I wanted to come back and show y'all that, because see how it's not doing it. But if you get a good contact right here, it's doing it. So all right, I'll cut y'all back on in a minute. Never cease to amaze me. Look at this mess. So I got the switch out, right? Look at this. What the flying F? What is this, bro? This switch was like 30 bucks. 30 freaking bucks. And it probably was way cheaper than this 10, 20 years ago. Why splice into all these wires, man? Just replace the switch. That's why, because like I say, my signals work, but it's an intermittent situation. So this is probably why. So let me see if I can pull this. I've already got it disconnected underneath. There's plenty of videos on this, how to take this out, so I didn't really want to waste y'all time covering that. I watched a bunch of guys. Diaz, Still Standing Garage, I watched him. I watched Mr. Random. Mr. Random actually gave me a couple of pointers on the next part that I'm on this switch right here that I gotta take out, because he replaced these bearings in here, and I didn't know that this piece came off because I've never been inside one of these columns. So there's 3 star keys right there that you take off, and this piece comes off in order to get that switch out. So that's next. So let me pull this off. This is a dang on shot. I want to take this tape off. I'm curious to see what's underneath here, because this is the only one that's taped. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna waste my time trying to fish this out of here, because it's trash anyway. I'm just gonna cut it. But look, this wire actually just came out. It was kind of fragile anyway, the white one. I'm not sure what function that wire is for, but that's probably part of the reason I've got intermittent issues with my turn signals. So I'm just gonna snip this and then I'll pull it out. There is that sleeve in there, so I need to push that back down so I can wrap it around the new harness. I can feel it right here. So let me just cut this connector off, and we'll pull this this switch out. Boy, your boy done chewed off a little bit more than he wanted to chew. We'll get on this one in a minute, but look at this. This is the turn signal switch. Look at these connections, man. Somehow, why was this even cut and spliced together when you could just buy a switch? The amount of time it took to take the steering wheel off, why even bother not just replacing this? So you got this white wire right here that's coming out. It was taped up, so I took that off. So you got thinning out right there. Then this piece right here, this actually broke off on the harness end. As you can see right here, it broke off right there. So that was a short. I'm not sure which one is that. The white one is in G, I think. Is that G or P? It's P. I don't know what P is, but I'll look it up. But so that was no good. So anyway, we got the new one going in a minute. I took this out, and this wasn't even, I mean, obviously it wasn't connected to anything, but these wires were just hanging under the dash. And I remember seeing them when I was fooling with the alarm. I didn't know what this was. So that's the cruise control wires. And what else did I take out? Man, I got a lot of mess over here. This switch right here, the windshield wiper switch. So this wasn't bad, the switch itself, but if you look in there, if you can see close, I drilled all that in there trying to get that piece out, that piece of metal that broke off of the end of this right here. So couldn't get it out, so I figured I'd replace this switch. Now this was the most expensive one, so I already got the new one in here. But this switch was $90 freaking, and it was a Duralast $90 freaking. So this one right here was only $39, I believe, the turn signal switch. This one is pretty pricey. So I've never actually done this. Have never done any of this. So I want to give a shout out to Mr. Random. I watched this video where he wasn't replacing this switch, but what he was doing was he was doing something with the ball bearings on this column, that bearing that's in there. So he was tightening something up on there, but in the process he took this piece off, and that's what I was looking for on how to take that off, because I couldn't see how to get this replaced. So got that replaced. So now we just got to go back in reverse style, put everything back the way it's supposed to be, and let's hope I can get everything back in properly with the right screws and hope everything worked. Also on that horn, y'all saw in the beginning that little metal piece that was not contacting, but this is the turn, what is it called, the cam signal, turn cam signal, whatever it's called. But this is what gives you contact for the horn. So it's cracked right there, and this is where that button goes through, with the little spring. So it's bad, so I'm gonna change it while I'm in there. I already got the part, even if this wasn't the reason why it wasn't working. So we'll figure it out once we put everything back together. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna clean off that metal piece anyway. I'm gonna get wire wheel and clean that off. Also, while I'm in here, like I mentioned, I'm gonna replace the ignition switch. So here's the old one, here's the new one going in. So y'all keep your fingers crossed, man. I hope I can get everything back together and working properly. So I'll cut y'all back on in a minute. All right, y'all, so I got it somewhat put back together. I got the ignition switch in. It works. The hazard lights work, because before this button wasn't, I guess it wasn't screwed in on the, so I can do that. Still have an issue with the turn signal. Oh, now it's working. That's fucking piece of see, you see that? And now you can't hear the flasher. So it wasn't, I don't know what it is. And then it stopped. But you can't hear the flasher. That's the problem. There is a flasher in there. So for y'all that's telling me I need to change the flasher. Anyway, so another thing, I did mess up on the brights. So somehow I didn't connect that rod to this part, which means I got to take all this stuff back off again, which it's not that bad. The hardest part was fishing those wires down there. So I got those down. So let me check the horn. That was the other thing I was going to check. So let me put this, because I'm going to wire wheel this if I need to, but I want to see if that's really the problem. So let me see. I don't think that's the problem. I think it was that switched. I don't know. We'll put it back together. This won't be hard to clean. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and just clean it just for the hell of it. But I did switch out the cam, whatever you call that thing, with this right here, because it was cracked. So, but as you can see, because this, I think this touches this and it grounds, and then it hits, once it hits that, that's what completes the circuit to the horn. Uh-oh, don't want to do that. I don't want to lose that. Let me put that back in there. God dang it. I don't feel like going to the store buying no more parts. So we got that in. So this works as long as it touches. Let me see. See, it's not, yeah, it is that. It doesn't have to touch the shaft, but when it touches metal and then it pushes down, now it does have to touch the shaft. Yep, because that's what completes the circuit. So this touching that, the I guess this plate here is what completes that circuit. So, but I got to take all this back off because of the bright switch. It's not working. It's not even engaging. So let me get that off. I hope I can get this out without ruining it, because that was the whole purpose of putting that on there. But it does work. The horn does work. So see it touch this, and then, so, all right, y'all, back in a minute. Okay, so I fixed that situation with the high beam switch. I didn't make sure it was lined up before I put the little piece back on, and then knocked the rod off the switch. So I had to take everything back out, put the rod on perfect before I lined it up. Like I said, I've never done this before, but I've done it 3 times now, just today, so not that bad. But I've got everything buttoned up. There's one wire that I didn't hook up. It's under the dash because I don't know what it's for. I know it's part of the alarm system. So I'm getting ready to start the car. I'm gonna do the remote start, because I believe it may be something to do with the remote start, because it's tied into this turn signal switch, and it's tapped into the black wire. And I'm not sure what it's for, but I don't like the way they tapped into it, because let me show you on the old harness. It was tapped into this black wire right here, and if you can see, the wire pinched. I'm gonna show you the connector, but it pretty much separated the wire. It still has somewhat of a connection, but this wire is pretty much ready to break. But these them connections, I'll be telling y'all, I don't like these T-taps or whatever they're called. So this goes on the wire, you know, like that, and then another piece slides into here. So I need to figure out what that wire is to make sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll need it. At least I think I might need it, because they had it hooked up. But if I don't need it, I'm gonna just, I got green tape on both sides just in case I do need it. But I'm gonna try to remote start and see if anything funny happens. But like I said, it's hooked up to the black wire off that harness, which is running to the turn signal switch. So unless that's part of the lights flashing when you hit the alarm, I probably won't need it, but we'll double check. So I got the battery hooked up. First, let's check and see if the horn works like it should. So let's try that first. We should be okay, but I don't know. I disconnected the battery because it kept going off as I was trying to put stuff back together. But see, there you go. Still nothing. It's still intermittent. It's that plate. And I can take that off because that's actually just behind here. And I'm gonna go ahead and wire wheel it, because I didn't do that because I wanted to see it works now. Push up here. See, you're supposed to get center. So it does work. It wasn't working at all before, so at least I know how it functions. So we'll check on that later. My hazards, I believe they work. Well, they're not blinking now. Oh, that's because the car not on. So let me turn the ignition on. So the hazards are blinking. I don't know if they were working before, but I do need to get a new button because it's actually broke. So that works. Cross my fingers on the turn signals, because I still was having some issues with that. Still hyper flashing, and it's not, the flasher, it's not blinking. You don't hear it blinking. It's a new flasher, y'all, so, but I'm gonna have to do something with it, figure it out, because it's intermittent. It works sometimes, it don't. The biggest flex on this whole project is this piece right here, because the one I had was hanging because the piece, like I said, was broke off. So I went with the non cruise control handle, so I don't have all the extra buttons. But at least I got this there, so when I'm driving out, because I will literally be driving and holding this with my left hand so it doesn't fall out, so when I came to a corner I can properly signal. But anyway, so let's start the car with the remote start real quick so I can see if, oh yeah, and I did put the new ignition switch in. So I got a black ignition switch now. Came with 2 keys. I think I got these from OPG, I believe. I bought this like a year or so ago. Just now putting that in. So let's go ahead and do the remote start and see if it'll start. On silent. Oh yeah. I'm on valet right now. So let's take valet off and unlock. And let's see if she'll start. That's exactly what that wire is. No, that's not what it is. I'm not sure what that wire is, because the car started with the remote start. I know that wire is coming off the alarm though. And they hadn't done that in a while. Like, this is literally the first start of the day, so this is a truly cold start. Normally I have to let the fuel pump prime a couple of times, but... So let me do my signals. So let's put the lights on, see if they work now. See, they're working fine now. I don't get it, man. I really don't get it, but it seems like it's gonna work. The back is blinking. I don't know. Left, right side. See, they blinking right now. I have no idea. It's working, but when I turned the car off, it was hyper flashing. So maybe, I don't know. Let me see if I can hear it. Nope, still can't hear it though. Hold on. Let me get inside. Oh, the horn, that's what that is. That's what that black wire is. I just realized the horn's not honking when I when I hit the unlock button. So that's what that wire is. God, I don't want to use that connection though. Hold on, y'all. That's what that black wire is. It's the horn button. I don't know why they ran it to there. So on this harness right here, this black wire. Okay, yeah, makes sense. So that black wire runs, yep, I see it. That black wire runs right up behind here to this little button right here, to the horn button. So that's what that is. Okay. All right, at least I know what it is, but I'm gonna get a different type of connector because I'm not putting this back on there. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I might just splice into it and solder it. So, what am I doing? Let me put it back in valet mode because she tripping. All right, y'all. Well, mission accomplished for today. There's still something going on with the turn signals though. It's still intermittent. Sometimes it'll hyper flash, sometimes it won't. The horn is working okay. And I got the switches switched out. I got a heater core coming in and AC evaporator core. I'm gonna do those at the same time. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I'm dropping the next video. Follow me on Instagram at PennyLS1. Until next time, holla at your boy.